this is something, an improvement which was added in DITA-OT 2.x, and it made me quite happy. It's not about the quality of the published output, but it's about the discoverability of new plugins from an application point of view. So Oxygen XML is an application, and it has a main DITA Open Toolkit folder that it uses for most of its publishing outputs. And once somebody takes a new plugin which contributes a new transformation type, and he installs that in the DITA Open Toolkit used by Oxygen, Oxygen should automatically pick that plugin up and allow users to use that plugin for publishing. Also, new DITA-OT plugins can also contribute public parameters for configuring the publishing process. And the application, in this case Oxygen, needed to discover these parameters automatically. And also, if I wanted to see for a common plugin what public parameters it contributed, I needed to look that up in the DITA-OT documentation. And my feature request was this: to add some metadata to each to make it possible for each DITA-OT plugin to describe in a metadata structure all its contributed transformation types and public parameters. And what I initially did with this feature request was something that I highly recommend to you. I went to the DITA-OT issues list and I added an issue for that. So this is my recommendation. If you have a feature request or an improvement request, just go to the DITA-OT issues list and register it. Some might get closed, and maybe some might get implemented as well. So I talked with Jarno Elovict about this, and we decided how this metadata would look like. And let me show you a simple example. So this is the plugin.xml for the open document format plugin. So this plugin converts data to ODF, and it has this metadata section inside it which did not exist in DITA-OT 1.8. And this section says something like, okay, the name of the transformation type is ODT, it has a small description, and it contributes one parameter, if images should be embedded in the ODT or not, a description for the parameter, and these are the possible values for the parameter, and this is the default value. And to show you what Oxygen does with this information, when I go and create a new transformation type of open document format, I can find this parameter here. It has a name, it has this choice of values coming from the plugin.xml, from this metadata, and it has a description in which I have my short description and my allowed set of values. So as an application, if you have a plugin which contributes a transformation type and it contributes this metadata inside it, I can pick up automatically the description of the transformation type, the description for the allowed values, and the default values to present to the end user. One more thing that you should see, there are lots more parameters here. So where did those come from? These are parameters which are considered common. So each transformation type doesn't need to define all available parameters. It defines only specific transformation parameters because there are also common parameters which are contributed to each transformation type. Yeah, so again, this metadata can also tell that a transformation type extends another, so that it shares the base transformation type parameters. The schema for this is like the transformation type has a name, can specify if it's abstract or not, if it's a standalone transformation or just a base for something else. It can specify that it extends another transformation type, a description. and a list of parameters. So as I showed you, once the plugin XML contains this data, any application can show you for each transformation type a set of public parameters. And this is the schema for this in particular. Whenever, if you want to, for example, this is the plugin XML from the org database folder, which comes with DITA-OT 2.x, and it has a quite huge transformation type metadata, which is named base, and contributes all those parameters that you love to use, like args related links, args debug, args draft. So any application, including the DITA Open Toolkit, could show you what you have available, what public parameters are available when you want to run a transformation. Yeah, so yes, Eric.
Wouldn't you just give me the microphone? Wouldn't you want to also include in the extends parameter the version of the Open Toolkit? Because we, since trans types I think are identified by the Open Toolkit that they're released with, you'd want some versioning. And then if they go through with the idea of moving plugins to their own release schedule and their own repositories within, instead of tying them to a particular open release, you'd need to know which version of the plugin it extends, wouldn't you?
Actually, the plugin can only run in one DITA-OT, so it connects to the plugin which has the proper name in the same DITA-OT. So,
yeah, so basically the plugin is deployed within a DITA-OT. So when you find a plugin that DITA-OT, that's the version of the DITA-OT you are using. So it's like, you know, the plugins are integrated within a specific DITA-OT, and that has a version.
Yeah. Jano, one more thing. You already use this information to also produce the documentation for the parameters? Or Roger, can you tell us more about this? Maybe.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Radu.